So I am back in State of Decay because I wanted to spend some time killing zombies. I had a lot of fun doing that and am very interested in doing some more of the killing of zombies. I spent a little bit of time on stream uh, breaking my car quite a bit, uh, meeting up with some other survivors in another enclave to try to make friends, but a zombie stole my door, which is really upsetting. I'm hoping that I can make a toolkit to fix that because I kind of needed that, as my character said, as he took my door. Zombies. But also spent some time. I built a workshop and started getting some things done around here. But it is nighttime, and right now I am hanging out at my enclave for just a little bit longer while I learn about things like how my workshop works, and while I get an opportunity to talk to you guys about the history of zombies. So what I've been doing between sessions, I mentioned in my last video, I mentioned to everyone that there was a book about the neuroscience of zombies, and I want to refer that book to you guys, or I want to recommend that book to everybody here. That book is called Do Zombies Dream of Undead Sheep? And it is a great way to make neuroscience. The authors have done an amazing job making neuroscience accessible to the general population, to everybody who is interested in neuroscience. And all sites surveyed. Oh, okay. Who's interested in neuroscience and wants to learn more about it, and they've done it through the lens of zombies, zombie movies, zombie games, and an understanding of the hypothetical zombie brain. And yes, Smug Rainbow Pummy, that is a very nice, nerdy title. I also recommend a book. It's called Do Robots Dream of Electric Sheep, which has nothing to do with neuroscience whatsoever, but was an enjoyable book that I found at my library while looking for the book Do Zombies Dream of Undead Sheep, which I thought was very fascinating. So what I've been doing between sessions is I've been reading this book and learning more about neuroscience as it is viewed through the lens of zombieism. And so I want to share a little bit of that with you. I'm not going to spoil the entire book, obviously, but I do want to share a little bit of that with you, and it gave me an excuse to talk more about State of Decay, and therefore to play more State of Decay on the stream, which I've been having fun with. And so that is why I am back here rather than just playing State of Decay on my own. And I am here to talk to you about that. And one of the things that they open up with that I want to talk to you about is where the term zombie comes from. And it actually comes from a practice in the Vodou religion and in cultures and in nations that had a strong voodoo practice in time. And so what would happen is the creation of a zombie, of a human zombie, an actual zombie, was done as a punishment for the worst types of crimes. So if you committed one of the worst types of crimes, the sorts of crimes where in Western European cultures you would be sentenced to death. And Western Europeans were really great at coming up with creative ways to kill people, right? So a lot of times it wasn't just plain old death, but there was torture. There was all sorts of awful things that would go on. Instead, in these cultures where the voodoo religion was more common, you would see... No, don't do that. I didn't mean to do that. Cancel this action to regain some spent resources. Yeah, don't do that. Don't ration people. And so what they would do, instead of murdering somebody, chopping off their hands, or engaging in all sorts of awful torture, was instead the creation of zombies. And I do think that it's important to engage in some comparative cultural practices here, right? It's really easy to say, wait, well, what do we mean? People were creating zombies. That's very different. That's very out there. And to get very Western-centric or very Eurocentric about our viewpoint of what it is to create a zombie and how okay it is to create a zombie. And I do think it's important to keep in mind that things like the Iron Maiden were created in European countries, and some very creative tortures. You think about in Salem during the Salem witch trials, people were crushed to death under rocks and burned at the stake. For what? For practicing their religion or for just being different. So we do have to keep those culturally things in mind. So I do want to make sure that that's taken into consideration. And I am coming in here to double check the chat here, just to see. We're talking about the movie Blade Runner. You're thinking of Zombie. Zombie is the original title of Blade Runner. Yes, I did tell Automod to allow the title in. Sorry about that. iRobot. Yes, iRobot is the iRobot doesn't have to do with zombies though. iRobot has to do with Do Robots Dream of Electric Sheep is the original title of iRobot? Is that what you're saying? I did not realize that, and I didn't put the two together when I was reading Do Zombies Dream of Electric Sheep. I don't know if these two books are directly related in that way. So okay, so there was an earlier mistake that's now manifest in the chat. Okay, I'm just trying to catch up everybody with some stuff that was going back and forth with the Tank and Smug Rainbow Pony because I didn't want to leave them out. I saw things scrolling their way along. So that being said, I do want to talk about where the term zombie probably came from. And it came from this practice, although it was spelled Z-O-M-B-I without the E when it was this practice. So I think that's important to keep in mind as well. And so it was slightly different. It wasn't exactly the same. But at the same time, this was the creation of a zombie. And what would happen is a person who committed these awful crimes would be... I saw movement. Would be sentenced to be turned into a zombie. Once they were made into a zombie, they would become incredibly compliant and would go and would functionally become slaves, right? They would have to go and serve the Bokor. This is a religious figure in the Vodou religion, and they would go and serve the Bokor for the remainder of their life. But notice they're not dead, and they haven't been tortured, so... well, we can discuss maybe or think about whether or not this is a form of torture as we discuss what it is, but we keep in mind that this is on par with what other cultures were doing at the time period. And so in talking about this, I want to talk about how this was done. So to create a zombie, and yes, they were creating zombies, human living zombies, but they were individuals who believed they had died and came back to life. And the way that you... Oh, and when you say which specific culture, this is in... our culture does terrible things, if that's what you're talking about, but the creation of zombies... is specifically in cultures that had practiced the Vodou religion. It was common in places such as Haiti. In fact, it was so common in places such as Haiti that it is now explicitly forbidden in sort of modern era, just to be sure that it is no longer the case that we are seeing that. And Night of the Living Dead may have created the term zombie with an I-E, but it certainly didn't create the term zombie, Z-O-M-B-I, which, again, is from this practice that I'm about to describe. And as we're talking about, the modern zombie in terms of survival horror, you may see that coming from Night of the Living Dead. But that's not this, right? This is the creation of a living zombie with an actual human being. These things actually happened. So yeah, Smug Rainbow Pony. That I think the distinction we're making here is between the fictional zombies, but this is non-fictional zombies. These are things that actually happened.
Let's keep our distance so that screamer doesn't call its friends.
No, let's shoot it in the face because it's right near my house. Creepy, creepy. You.
I should reload.
Reloading takes time. Kill it!
Another hit should do it.
Shoot. It did it. It called its friends. Now I'm in trouble. Ugh, run away! Hey! I thought I killed you. Ow, 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 get off of me. Stay dead! I told you to stay dead. Sorry about that. That's what I get for being silly. Ouch. Left bumper runs. Ah, thank you. Left bumper runs. I forgot that. I learned it last time and then I forgot. Let's go get some medicine while we talk about zombies. So let's talk about the Creole. Z-O-M. Oh, look at Smug Rainbow Pony's like, hey, I'm reading Wikipedia. And the term derived from the Creole, Z-O-M-B-I, and the Congolese, N-Z-A-M-B-I. Yes, so you're bringing that in there. Let's talk about how that was created on a neuropsychological level. And you may be reading this on Wikipedia as well. So if you are, I apologize if that makes it less exciting. Let's take some very weak painkillers. I only need one. I've just never taken painkillers before. Let's try some painkillers. Use. I feel better. So let's talk about how we make zombies. So the way that they would do it is they would first administer a toxin known as tetrodotoxin. And this may sound familiar to you if you are familiar with the delicacy, the pufferfish, because this is the same toxin that makes the pufferfish potentially deadly. And Smug Rainbow Pony, I am so glad that you are always excited by knowledge because that's what we do here, right? I am nothing if not pedantic. So tetrodotoxin is what makes the pufferfish potentially murder you. Oh, and since I'm stupid, let's bring some more. Let's actually bring some more painkillers. It's what you find in there, and it actually blocks the ability of cells to.
I never had any doubt that things would be going this well.
Oh yeah, you definitely never had any doubt. And it blocks the ability of neurons, which are the nerve cells within the body, the things that actually do the thinking and the doing in the body, from having action potentials. So I want to take a second to describe what an action potential is and why it is so important, while I go on foot I know it's a very silly idea to go on foot to do one of these tasks, but my car is broken. So I'm hoping that along the way I will find what I need. So an action potential is... let's think for a second about the network of nerves that are in your bodies, right? Neurons are teeny, teeny, tiny, and there is, comparatively speaking, a great... How do you know it's midnight? You just asked me, is midnight the best time to do it? But it looks like it's getting light outside. Sorry, Smug Rainbow Pony just asked if midnight was the best time to go for a walk by myself, but I thought the sun was rising. Meh. I just didn't want to, otherwise, you guys have to watch me do nothing. You might as well watch me almost get killed. It's much more entertaining for the people at home. And look, a car that might have a toolkit in it. So, action potentials. There's whole bunches of teeny tiny neurons in you.
A kick in the teeth.
And a whole bunch of you that those teeny tiny neurons need to get around, right? And so, in order for them to do that, they need to communicate with each other, and they lay next to each other, so to speak. And you can kind of view them as trees, with sets of branches on one side and roots on the other. So you can imagine these trees, they've got branches on one side reaching out to the next tree, and that's where they're getting their messages from. So they've got the branches reaching out. But then when you imagine a tree, right, they've got some spindly branches that are reaching out, but then they kind of look bushy. So let's find a tree to take a look. In fact, let's back up. Take a look at this tree. Let's find a good example of a tree. Haha! So you see, I gotta find a tree that another tree doesn't get in my way while I try to do that. So you see at that tree how it's kind of got that the thing in the trunk in the middle of the tree, and then it's got a whole bunch of branches coming off the side. Now imagine that you stripped most of the bottom part of the tree so that the branches were only at the top. Okay? Like this tree. I found a good example of tree. Go over here, honey. Go over here. Like that tree, where the bottom part is a little bit more stripped, and then the branches are only at the top bit. That's kind of like a neuron. And then you have to imagine, right, that underneath the ground are roots. Yeah, check out these trees. These are great. I love how all the trees are different, too. So I could find a tree that fit the example I was looking for, that had a mostly bare bottom, and that only had branches at the top. And you'll see that the branches sort of spindle out at the top, but then there's like a bulby bit. And that's what you have to imagine. Imagine somewhat that a child drew a tree. And when a child draws a tree, you have a big old trunk, and then you have a round bit at the top. It was a little unexpected from a pine, which is why I wasn't certain I was going to find it. But if you imagine a child draws a tree, you've got a big old trunk, and then you've got a round bit at the top. And then maybe you have some branches sticking out from the round bit. Someone's trying to kill me. Take! Stay dead. And then you've got some spindly bits sticking out of that. The round bit is the cell body, right? This is where the energy centers are. If you've heard of mitochondria, this is where they are. This is and if a cell can be said to be making decisions, right? If a neuron can be said to be making decisions, those decisions are happening here. And give me just one. Is it me or those zombies trying to look sneaky too? Give me just 1 second, because I don't know what you are if you're not Papa Bear on this stream.
Good enough.
Papa Bear seems to have a question.
I hope this aggressive plan doesn't get us into trouble.
We can't ignore the reality we face.
Sorry,
we have to deal with how things are.
They're worrying about being aggressive right now.
I see a few army Zeds around. Seems like not all the soldiers made it out of here.
1,
I'll have to take them out at close range.
2.
I just waste bullets against those helmets.
Oh, thank you for the warning that I should Stop that. Let's try sneaking around. How good can you hear me? I'm in the trees. Can't see me. Can't see me. And take that! Well, stop yelling about it. You're being stealthy, remember? Yes. Sorry, I had to kill a zombie at stealth. What's up? Mute? And I will apologize to those who are watching on YouTube. You probably just saw a jump cut. I just hit X. So I apologize to those who are watching on YouTube. Alright. Red Fighter, I intentionally keep the game volume a little bit low so that when I am talking about psychology, it can be heard. So it is intentionally a little bit on the quiet side, Red Fighter. So I am going to leave that a little bit on the quiet side. And right now there's not much going on in the game. So you can't actually hear much other than this crow that... that's going on there. So Red Fighter, I am going to leave that for now. So I hear them. I just can't tell from where. And they're wearing helmets, so I'm not going to be able to shoot them. Ooh, are you wearing a helmet? You are wearing a helmet. Okay, so you're up there. No, you're not. You're down there. Okay. Found you. Okay. Knockdown. So, secure a building. To secure a building, you must explore each room on the minimap. In addition to exploring all rooms, you must kill all zombies. And then it becomes a zone where no new zombies appear. Wait, so no new zombies appear by my camp. And that's I get it now. So, Smug Rainbow Pony, you say that you keep alternating between wanting the game and not wanting the game. Are you like me, someone who had never played this game before starting
I need to secure the entire site
Orangutan streams? Yes, I'm working on that. I know that my minimap is showing me areas I haven't explored, but I have to kill this thing first. I'm being sneaky. Ah, yes. And I started playing... Ah, take that, and that, and that in the face. Like that. Baby or Bear comments, you are really into that game. Yes, sometimes it is nice to bash something in the face. When you are old enough to not have nightmares, you too can know the joy of bashing bad guys in the face. Baby or Bear, we can have this argument later because right now I need to talk about action potential. Can I search this from the outside? That would be silly. It is in fact silly. I can search this through the bars. And hi... Now on my, and I can, it's why that I have to press when stealthing to kill in one go. I knew that there was a button that I was forgetting. So, now on my, you may not have seen my first video, but I completely messed up stealth. I was pressing all the wrong buttons, and it turned out that Orangutan even needed to, and let me know if there's a better way for me to pronounce your name. But it came to the point where Orangutan even needed to comment on my video, letting me know how to stealth, because I just did not get it. And so I am now using this opportunity to practice stealth, because I was so bad. And so now that I have zombies that I can catch up on, or sneak up on and practice, that is what I am doing. So thank you for reminding me that it was Y that I want to press as I'm sneaking up on these zombies to practice stealth. And so now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to secure this base by searching through it. And now when I pronounced it perfectly, given that it is a made-up word. Well, thank you. That is a, where are you? You obviously see me. You are going to stay down. I killed you. There is another one somewhere that clearly hears me. And is banging against things? Where? Where? Where are you? You just broke through something. There you are. Okay. So I did not stealth that one. You, stay down. And I failed at killing you. I don't remember you even being... So it hasn't told me that I've cleared this place yet, so there are obviously rooms that I have not explored.
The military site is now clear.
Aha!
I'm staking our claim here so everybody knows this is our territory.
I can't stake the claim because I have too many outposts. So, to get rid of the outposts, I have to come here, and I have to ditch an outpost. Now, I'm going to ditch the fuel one because we need food. So for now, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hi, Papa Bear Tricks. Yes, I am getting out some aggression. This is probably the best way for me to do that.
The new outpost is secure.
It's been a long, long while since I have played games that allow me to get out aggression. So it's nice to get that set up, or to get that relieved.
Better than a kick in the teeth.
And so Smug Rainbow Pony has mentioned that that you keep going back and forth. They keep going back and forth between nodding and not wanting the, or thinking about getting this game.
It's a little better.
I didn't fast search that. Thinking about getting this and not thinking about getting this this game. Because there doesn't seem to be a huge emphasis on emotional entanglements. Did you watch my first playthrough, though, where I was really torn about whether or not I was about to have to kill my own girlfriend? Or my ex-girlfriend, at least, because, man, I really did think that they were about to make me murder my girlfriend because she got the blood plague. So I was definitely convinced that that was a thing that was about to happen to me. And I was not fully okay with it. So you said you have not. Well, I've ruined it a little bit that's happening there, but there's at least some of that as you go through that, and in terms of building the relationships, I don't know how much more of that there is because I simply haven't gotten to it yet. I do know that it is not your typical story-driven game, which is what I typically play. What makes that really useful for this format is that I can say, okay, now I'm going to go back to. It was a fun story moment to go through. It wasn't necessarily fun in terms of thinking it was about to happen, but it was a fun story moment to set things up. Alright, so now we have our military outpost. I'm going to drop some more stuff off that I don't need. Yeah, because that doesn't look as good as the crowbar that I have. And Smug Rainbow Pony mentioned that the streams that they've seen have been very much sort of combat and management. Oh, I'm so tired. I just got to walk you back to our base, honey, because we walked, because because I'm silly like that. So we're going to walk back to the base, and then you can go to bed. Okay? And base is... This is the wrong way, but... Where base is... Which way's base? Which way did we come from? Remember how I said about my spatial intelligence being not good at all? I am pointing this way. I need to turn around. My base is this way. No, it says my base is that way. There we go. Waypoint set. It's the yellow thing up there. You're going to walk home. You're going to try not to get murdered. And here's the tank. You are so cute. You say northeast like I know that. Which way that is. So that is so sweet. But I'm going towards the yellow, and I'm even using my mini-map like you suggested, and following the yellow arrow. So so yeah, so that'll eventually take me home, and that's where I'm trying to get to, and then she can rest, because she has done her job on foot, because she is BA. So, while she is walking home, let's talk about the action potentials that are going on that are making all of this possible. So remember, we've got our trees with our big old trunks and our bushy tops on the top. Those tops are the cell bodies where those action potentials, if a decision could be made as to whether or not to have an action potential, that's where that decision is being made, right? And the branches are getting messages from other neurons, and those messages are coming from the roots. So you have to, yeah, Smoke Rainbow Photo says, oh right, neurons. So you have to imagine that these trees are lined up where the roots of one tree are touching the branches of another tree. Or not actually touching, they are near the branches of another tree. And the N, yes, Papa Bear Tricks, the N is for neurons. And so the roots of one tree are near the branches of another tree. There's a space between them, and that space is known as the synapse. It can also be referred to as synaptic gap, but I'm actually really bad at saying the word synaptic with another word after it, and so we're just going to call it synapse because that is also correct. And so that's how that's going to go. We're going to...
Okay, I brought supplies.
Yeah, I didn't want to deposit ammo. I wanted to deposit... Well, I did what I needed to do. Rucksack. And now, you're going to rest. Go to bed. Where's the beds? Back here. And so... Where's bed? Bed. Jen, you haven't... Oops. Wrong button. Jen, you haven't done anything yet. You've been lazing around. Come on. It's time for you to do a thing. Something. Anything. That is not lazing around. So, what basically happens is that these messages are sent from... Now on my says the N might have stood for nearly there. That is also true, especially if I am the one in control. It's not quite there, only nearly. You're going to get an assault weapon, and you need some ammo for that. So, and you need to equip that weapon. So what happens is, the roots, remember, are sending some messages. They're sending messages along to the branches of the next one, and those messages have two basic tones to them. They either say something like, hey, get excited, or they say, nah, dude, calm down, just chill out. You don't need to get excited about this. And
what if I could?
No, be quiet. So those one of two messages are being sent. Let's see if there's yellow waypoint. And if the neuron gets excited enough to do something, and this is sort of an all or nothing thing. They're either getting really excited or they're not getting really excited. But once they get excited enough that they decide, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. An action potential happens. So the action potential is an all or nothing response. Much like firing a gun, right? You can't half fire a gun. You can wiggle the trigger a little bit. Yes, and the tank just noticed that Papa Bear Tricks is there. That is, in fact, Papa Bear, who is getting me dinner. You can wiggle the trigger a little bit, and it's not really going to do anything. The gun is not going to fire a little bit. It's just not going to fire at all. And so that's the same thing with an action potential. If you only do it a little bit, if there's only a little bit of stimulation there, then you don't have an action potential and nothing happens. But once the neuron gets excited enough, an action potential happens. And an action potential is a combination...
There's nothing here that we need.
I was hoping there were toolkits here. Thank you for pointing out to me that there's nothing here, though, because that lets me know that that's useless. So once an action potential happens, it's both electrical and chemical. Right, so you have to imagine in these neurons that there are a whole bunch... oh no, we're just getting there, Smug Rainbow Pony. We're just getting there because we're talking about this all or nothing response of the action potential. So there's a whole bunch of chemical ions that are inside and outside of the neuron. So the neuron itself has a base negative charge. Right, so if you've ever heard anyone say that humans have a natural magnetic charge to them, they're not lying to you. They're not making stuff up. This is, you're gonna see me. I'm gonna come over here. This is not fake. Yet we do actually have a slight electrical charge to us. This is why MRI machines work, by the way. Because they're taking advantage of the electrical charge within the body. And so these neurons start off with a slight negative charge to them. And so what happens is that when an action potential happens, what's supposed to happen is that positively charged sodium ions are supposed to enter the neuron. And then what happens is a process of hyperpolarization where... Oh, give me play cards. Useless. A process of hyperpolarization where you see the neuron goes from negatively charged, and what happens is a bunch of the... And they already have, by the way, potassium ions in them, but a bunch of the sodium ions rush in. Tons and tons of sodium. And so now there's a really huge positive charge. Yes, Smug Rainbow Pony, haha, I am saying that we are naturally negative, but only a little bit negative, and only appropriately negative. So there. And so then what happens when that hyperpolarization happens? The neuron kind of goes, oh no, this is not how things are supposed to be. And it pushes out all the negative ions while also pulling in a massive an influx of...
Yeah, definitely locked.
No, okay. How do I disengage from this? Okay, that's the button to disengage. I don't want to pound my way in here. Wait a minute, I've been in there before. I don't need to pound my way in here. I don't need to make noise.
Well,
there we go.
I don't hear anything lurking about.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So. Whatever. Okay. And what happens is it overcompensates. A whole bunch of positive ions are pushed out, a whole bunch of negative ions rush in, and it actually becomes hyperpolarized, very, very negative for just a second. And then everything gets back to an equilibrium after that. That's how it's supposed to work, right? That's how everything works when things are going well. And while that's happening, right, this is sending electrical signals down the axon. That's like the trunk of the tree, right? The axon is the trunk of the tree of this neuron. It's sending signals down the axon. This is cascading down the axon, and it eventually gets to the roots of the tree, right? These are the terminal branches. That means the end point of all of this. Gets to the roots of that tree. 1, 2. Okay. Gets to the roots of that tree, and then it sends a message, a chemical...
That won't work.
Let go of me. Let go of me. Get away.
To drop.
No, you're not. Get up. Because if you drop, you die. Don't fall down. Don't fall down. You can climb up here and rest. Get on the roof. Okay. So, that's how things are supposed to happen. And then they cascade down. There I was. They cascade down the axon. And they get down to the very end. And then at the end, they get to their own dendrites, their own roots. And they send out chemicals into that space that I was telling you about, that synapse. Yes, whacking with a bat does feel so good in this game. That's sort of exactly what you want to be doing. So it sends that message cascading down the axon. It gets to your dendrites. That's your branches, remember. And you go and you're sending your message now to the next neuron. And that is, you do that by sending chemicals
really
into that space.
special.
Into that space between the two neurons. That space between the branches of the tree that you're in, right? Or the roots of the tree that you're in, and the branches of the next tree. There we go. Cleared the room. So, that's how it's supposed to work.
I know someone who'd love this.
Who'd love what? Coffee beans?
All right, time to carry this food over to the neighbors.
Oh, okay. I found food for the neighbors. That was accidental. I'm looking for repair kits. Because my car's broken. And I agree with you, no on my, that I like shooting them from far away too, but I mean, beating them with a bat, right? I'm such a bad aim that beating them with a bat is just so tempting as well.
I've searched through everything here.
Ooh, a hatchet though. Less knockdown, less durability, less impact, but look, I can dismember them.
That's pretty heavy.
But she's complaining that it's heavy. Fine. You gonna get tired on me? Do I have painkillers? I don't. No painkillers. Okay. We'll go home. I'll take you home. I know that you're tired and hurt. We'll come back here later. I have no clue how to set a thing for that on the map, so... waypoint set. Find the yellow arrow. I'm getting better at these yellow arrows, the tank. Be proud of me. Alright. So. That's how it's supposed to happen. We release chemicals into that synapse. They stimulate the next set of branches, right? The next dendrites, and say, get excited, or nah, dude, calm down. And the process continues. And this is how messages are generally sent in the body. Oh, if I sprint now, it'll make her have more stamina later. That's really good to know. So she's going to... Oh, except for this guy here. Ran into you fast. Beat you in the head. Take that. So, what does all of this have to do with making zombies? Like actually making living human zombies. And what does it have to do with a pufferfish? So, when you consume pufferfish, the thing that makes pufferfish dangerous, toxic, is the tetrodotoxin. And what tetrodotoxin does is it blocks those sodium channels. Remember we talked about how what's supposed to happen is a whole bunch of positively charged sodium is supposed to rush into the cells to create action potentials. I have standing now. People like me. How much do people like me? Yes, those are very good questions. Thank you, Smug Rainbow Pony. So what's supposed to happen is sodium's supposed to rush into those cells. The tetrodotoxin, the pufferfish toxin, which probably wasn't gotten from pufferfish at the time, but the same toxin that you see in pufferfish, but there are many other sources. That same toxin, it blocks those sodium channels, which means an action potential can't happen. Now, this sounds an awful lot, by the way. It has a lot of the same effects as the poison that is used in Romeo and Juliet. And I'm going to ask the chat something while I'm going around and managing my inventory. If I just let her rest, will her health come back automatically, or do I have to give her painkillers? So this will sound an awful lot like the poison that is used in Romeo and Juliet. So if you are familiar with the play Romeo and Juliet, you may be familiar with the idea that Juliet was put into a sleep that looks like death. My infirmary is level 1. So she was put into a sleep that looked like death, fooled everybody into thinking she was dead, so they put her in the crypt. Fortunately, they did not do things like mummification. Use small pills or bandages. Okay. They didn't do things like mummification, fortunately. But she did... I do have toolkits. Go fix your car. Let's go. And tricked everybody into thinking she was dead. This is kind of what tetrodotoxin does, because it makes a situation where none of the neurons within the body can successfully have action potentials, or if they can, those action potentials are happening very slowly. Did I get my door back? I got a door back! Look at that! I got a door. Excellent. Fix the car. Fix the car. It's my only car, so I should fix it again, right? There's no reason not to. So the question is, yes, it was the priest who gave her the poison, although there is no reason to believe, by the way, that it's the same poison that was used in Romeo and Juliet. There's no way that Shakespeare could have known about tetrodotoxin. And I apologize for those who know chemistry if I'm pronouncing this particular toxin wrong, but there's no way that tetrodotoxin was known to Shakespeare. The pufferfish wasn't brought into England, or knowledge of the pufferfish wasn't brought into England until 1770. So there's no way that the bard would have known about this. But yes, it was in Romeo and Juliet, the priest who gives her the poison and helps her with this scheme, Friar Lawrence. And the reason I know that actually is because my brother-in-law was just involved in this really cool production of Romeo and Juliet. It was a fully bilingual production called Romeo y Julieta. And it was actually a mix, so they took a full Spanish language translation of Romeo and Juliet, and then they mixed that with an English language translation so that it actually slipped in and out of English and Spanish in really dramatic ways. And I am not am not fluent in Spanish, so I didn't always understand what was being said, but it was beautiful to hear and very enjoyable to hear. You can find it on podcasts, actually, wherever you download your podcast. If you enjoy a good podcast, which I happen to, they've released it there as well. So if that's a thing that you enjoy, I strongly recommend going and looking into that. And actually, we're going to give her bat back because I'm going to switch to someone else and let her rest for a bit. So put that in there. But yes, oh, that's true. If it was the Friar Lawrence who, the tank points out that seeing as the priest is the one who gave her the poison and knew that she wasn't dead, he wouldn't have done any of the body prep that would result in her death. Very, very true. But at the same time, it must have been another poison. And there are other poisons that can have similar effects.
Hey, you, what's up?
But this does create a state that is... Oh, wait, you needed medicine. I got distracted by the fact that I could fix my car. And now I just need to gas up my car. Did I gas up my car? I'll check. And I can drive now instead of having to walk around and put my characters in all sorts of danger. So this pufferfish toxin, as I mentioned, would put them in a state that looked like death, but was not death. Small bottle of painkillers, strong bandages, painkillers, first aid, snacks. I don't seem to have tiny painkillers, so we are going to take some... This is a large amount of health over time. Some health immediately, some health immediately. Someone has my painkillers. Do you have my painkillers? No, but give me that. I'll put it away. Do you have my painkillers?
We need allies. The skills and resources they offer are vital to our survival.
Thank you for the lecture. I appreciate it. Where's wrong button. There you are.
Glad to see you're still in one piece.
Kay, do you have our painkillers? You do. Thank you. The bandage said large amount of, and this says modest amount. So I wanted to use this because she doesn't need a large amount of stuff. Of health. I was just managing my amount of health. Especially since she got tired really quick. Although, let's run her around. Whee! Okay. So, step 1 to creating a human zombie was to put them in a death-like state. Where they were not having action potentials as quickly. So if you eat enough tetrodotoxin, right, it will kill you. You will stop having action potentials, and that is death, right? You can't have too much. But a moderate dose of tetrodotoxin will slow down the action potentials enough that...
Would you mind handling things for a while?
Sure. Now on my usual stuff. Oh, wait, I want to get dressed. I want to get them dressed while I talk. So a moderate amount of this tetrodotoxin will not kill you, but will instead... Oops, no, put that back on. Ooh, nice. Will instead result in... not complete death, but in a death-like state. And so that's really what you're going for here, is that death-like state. No. Put your biker jacket back on. FYI, you can stack the doubling pills if you're in a jam, says the tank. No negative side effect from taking too many pills. We're going to dress our people. Play Dress Up Sally. I know you're dressed up as a doctor, but... No, I really like your scrubs. Unless you get something that's better than scrubs, you're staying a doctor for a while. You might get changed, though. So, after that, though, you need to do something to wake them up. Although, the human body, there is no known antidote for tetrodotoxin. So, if you give somebody... I switched to the wrong person. If you give somebody too much, you're in trouble, right? And Smug Rainbow Pony asked, did they start doing this Death Like Human because they thought it would be a way to bring back their loved ones? No, they started doing this Death Like Human because they told them there was a religious belief that said, what we're doing is we are going to kill you. We are going to take a part of your soul. Right? You did a bad thing. Remember, this is happening because someone did a bad thing. And so they're told that they're being killed. They don't know that the tetrodotoxin is not killing them. I hear you. Put that on. No, not that. They don't know that this toxin isn't... Oh, yeah, but look at her attitude. This is so her. They don't know that this isn't killing them. So they believe that it is killing them. And that that a part of their soul is then being removed. And then that they are being taken to receive their punishment after that part of their soul is being removed. So that's the purpose of this process, is that punishment, and the punishment had religious overtones to it, or undertones, overtones. I'm not really sure if they're under the over-under on that, but they've got religious tones to them. No. Not her style. So, the body will naturally process out the tetrodotoxin. So if you have some in your system, but not too much, your body will naturally get it out over time. And this is what happens when people eat pufferfish, right? The point of eating pufferfish is to have some of the experiences of this. This is why you... this is why you see the numbness and the tingling and what some people consider the quote-unquote fun effects of the pufferfish, right? This is some of the appeal of the pufferfish. But it can only do that if it's at small doses. But what they also did as part of the zombification process, right, in combination with the tetrodotoxin, and then in combination with the belief that this was going to have the effect of removing part of the soul and making you a compliant zombie, they also gave another substance. And this substance is called Datura. It's also known as zombie cucumber, right? So you can imagine what this looked like, but it's referred to as... I don't have good hats. The tank wanted me to give them hats, but I don't have any hats that I like. Except your hat. Because you are keeping all of your army everything because you are amazing and I love you. Exactly as you are, Kay. Never change. Datura contains a whole bunch of things in it. It contains, and I'm glancing over here now because I do not have this list memorized. It contains scopolamine, hyoscamine, and atropine. Now, these help to break down the pufferfish toxin. Now, there's no known treatment for tetrodotoxin, right? That's not what it's breaking down. It is breaking down all of the other toxins that are also found within pufferfish. Because... Oh, does Barlow have to be the one to connect with the other survivors? Smug Rainbow Pony, I am glad that you are finding these things interesting. It looks like... So, story goals, somebody who knows this game, does it have to be Barlow who does this? Is that, am I understanding this correctly? because it says Barlow's name underneath this? No. He's just the one who gave it to me. Okay, wait a minute. The tank says no. No on my says yes. I'm going to go with Barlow just in case, but I'm going to let him take the car because I fixed it. Let's see how badly he wrecks it again. Oh, wait. Do I have gas?
I'm on my way out.
I parked in a bad place. How's the gas? Oh, no. Yeah, I got gas. I filled up. I'm sorry it's hard to follow with the video game interruptions. I know. So, where are we? We have... zombie sounds near my house is where we are. Where do you think you are? Who do you think you are coming near my home? Give me just a moment. Oh, God. There's a screamer outside my house. No, that was a bad shot. Sorry about that, guys. So, where were we? I don't know what a bloater is, but I'm scared. Where were we? We were at... We give them tetrodotoxin, and then we give them the zombie cucumber. After we've let them be a little bit dead. Day 3. Day 3? It's only been 3 days? Are you serious? So, we give them the tetrodotoxin, then we give them the zombie cucumber. I'm having a hard time believing it's only been 3 days. Come here. Here, zombie, zombie, zombies. Here, zombie, zombie. Come in. Get it! Ha ha ha! Okay, sorry. As you said, it is kind of hard with the game interruptions. I apologize. I broke their house. I figured out how to get to their house without, destroying the world. That was so much easier. I got rid of your zombie problem. Prance it into your house. Just close the door. You guys aren't zombies, right? Talk to Kendra. Barge into your bedroom. Hi.
If we can't find more food soon, we could be in real trouble.
I forgot to bring the food.
Adios.
Oh, BRB. I'm sorry, Chica. At least I found my way here. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, so. Gave them the zombie cucumber. So, let me recap again. Again, because I think this is the third recap. We gave them the pufferfish toxin, the tetrodotoxin. This has caused them to become as if dead, right? No more action potentials. And then, to help them process, in part, to help them process the other toxins, right? There's nothing that can help them with the tetrodotoxin. We have no known antidote. To help with the processing of the other toxins, they get the datura. But the Datura does other things. Because of
We need to
the...
stock up on our medical supplies.
Okay, fine, I'll work on that. The doctor is here. So because of the other things, specifically the scopolamine and the hyoscamine, and again, I had to glance down just to get those names, I apologize. But because of those, draw a rucksack of food. Because of those, this substance, the zombie cucumber, is a hallucinogen. So as they wake up, as the person who's becoming a zombie wakes up, they are also hallucinating. It also makes them really compliant. This is because it is blocking a specific neurotransmitter. Remember how I told you that chemicals were being released into that space between the root of the trees and the branches of the next tree? That synapse? And that was the space where messages were being sent from one neurotransmitter to the next or from one neuron to the next neuron. One of those neurotransmitters is called acetylcholine. And acetylcholine is important for a lot of different things. But if you block it, it can produce hallucinations. Alright, I hear zombies. Do I need to shoot them or did they go away? They appear to have gone away for now. I'll hit them with my car later. And so there are a lot of different ways that you can end up with hallucinations, by the way. But low levels of acetylcholine are specifically associated... Oh, she came running. She was like, you got my food.
If we can't find more food soon, we could be in real trouble. Thanks.
Well,
You
here,
really came through
you
for
can have
us.
some food.
I guess we owe you one.
Yeah, you do.
No problem.
The frontier is inhabited by small enclaves of humans. If you're helpful, they can be allies, trading partners, or recruits. Ignore or betray them, and they become hostiles. Well, you guys live too close together to be hostiles.
Let's help each other out. It's good to know there are other people who'll stand with us.
She
If
said
work
we
at
need
it,
medical
build
supplies.
a society out here that actually lasts.
What sort of medical supplies did she want? I already had quite a bit. Let's buy some painkillers? Because somebody asked me for medical supplies. As in a medicine rucksack. Well, this person doesn't have that. So I guess I'll have to... I'm not going to search this person's house. That just seems like a way to lose friends. Thank you. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. We're gonna go get that one. They don't mind if you search their house? Really? Really? Because I feel like they totally should mind. That was great. I love that his takedown is different. He was like, shh, quiet. Are you guys tricking me? Are you guys fooling me that and so you can see what happens when I search these people's houses and make them angry? Are you for real that I can search their house? Okay, I'm gonna do this, and if this causes problems with my neighbor, if my neighbor is no longer neutral or gets angry with me...
No funny business, okay?
Yeah, no funny business, right? As I steal your stuff. Yeah, they seem to have not noticed that I just took all their stuff. That's not... I mean, I just gave them food and all, right? But, like, that just felt wrong. Because I just stole from the people that I was making friends with. And it violates my morals to do so, but... Okay, that was weird. You can sell them their own stuff? No. No, I'm not gonna go that far. I'm gonna take their stuff because I already did it for science, but but I'm not gonna sell it back to them. I'll use it for the good of the people. And
Hello, neighbor. By now, I expect you've seen the plague heart growing nearby.
I
I
have.
don't know whether it attracts plague zeds or makes them, but they're everywhere.
Well, I
Be
haven't
very
seen a
careful
plague
in
heart
that area,
growing.
Okay?
I think we'd all feel safer.
How do
if that
brakes
Blackheart
work?
was straight.
To pull that off, we'll need strong allies by our side.
I like the idea of building an alliance, especially if they have good stuff to trade.
Of course you do. You like
Our
making
may
friends
be
with everybody.
fine, but we shouldn't count on outsiders. If we build the tools we need ourselves, we won't have to rely on
Well,
other
we
people for
stole
help.
all their stuff. So let's finish up what we were talking about while we're here. And while I'm
I
equipping...
don't know for sure if plague zeds are created by the heart or just attracted to it.
What heart? I have not
But
seen
if we
whatever
leave this one
heart it is
alone,
you're talking
it's
about.
only a matter of time before one of us catches blood plague.
Yeah,
I've
you've
spent
already been
plenty of
trying to
time
catch it.
studying the plague. You don't have to convince me.
Y'all have been trying to catch this blood plague. So yeah. So, in addition to being... It's hallucinogenic, right? Because it affects acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is specifically... There's lots of ways to get hallucinations, is what I told you guys. Acetylcholine is specifically associated with visual hallucinations. And it can cause... by blocking acetylcholine, so by blocking the ability for acetylcholine to do its job, what happens is it causes delirium and the inability to tell the difference between fantasy and reality. So as this person is coming to from having just been poisoned, you're able to tell them, essentially, that what's happened is they've been turned into a zombie, they died, parts of their soul were removed, and that they are now a zombie. And that worked. They woke up compliant, they woke up unable to tell fantasy from reality, and they woke up with amnesia. One of the effects of this combination of medications was loss of memory and amnesia. And remember when we talked about in the first or second video that one of the things that we associate with being human is having a sense of history and a sense of experiences. And those are lost in this type of zombieism, right? Those are lost in the creation of a zombie in this way. And so when we think about the origin of a zombie, when we think about what's happening here, we're creating a zombie in sort of the traditional way that we think of zombies now. Compliant, doing, sort of acting on impulse, that loss of memory, and a lack of volition, not really having an independent desire to do other things other than, when we think of zombies in this game, other than survive, right? Other than find food and survive. So these are features of zombies as they relate to both ZOMBIE as well as ZONBI. But there are also reasons why this would activate the uncanny valley and make people uncomfortable, which is probably why individuals who had undergone this ritual would then be removed from society, both because they had done the big bad, right? This was in response to having done a very bad thing, but also, so this is just one of the many ways that people who had done bad things were removed from society. And some cultures did that by, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this, some cultures did that by killing them. Some cultures did that by putting them into prison. Some cultures... It really wants me to make this. Why? Why do you want me to make this so badly? I don't want to. Destroy the plague heart, threatening the area. Optional, invite Kendra to fight the plague heart alongside you. Trade with Dave to get explosives. Craft your own explosives. That's part of a quest. That's why. Okay, I'll craft an explosive because you want me to.
Wanted are ready to use.
Now, let's go blow the shit out of that plague heart.
Yeah, let's do it. I like checking things off the checklist, so I will do that. And so, you know, sometimes they were sent to prison, sometimes they were sent, many societies sold people into slavery. You saw that in ancient Greece and Rome, going further back than that, I am sure. Others tortured and murdered people who were different or tried to torture them into compliance.
Good work, people.
So you saw...
Let's keep it up.
Ah, thank you. You are such a good leader. So this is a solution to a problem that societies around the world or groups of people around the world have had to tackle, and that I suspect in this game we'll have to tackle what we should do. Ah, you have raised a citizen. What we do when somebody starts to cause trouble. We saw in the first video that when somebody turns into a zombie, we have to shoot them. But I suspect we'll have to figure out what we do in our community when somebody starts to cause a lot of trouble. So I don't think Jen is causing enough trouble with her -3 morale, for instance, for us to have to deal with her yet. But at what point do we decide that somebody can't stay with us anymore? And that is functionally dooming somebody to be murdered by zombies. And what exactly does that mean? So it does bring up the same sorts of questions that we see within this game, but also gives us a good history of zombies and zombieism. And so I did want to talk about that while playing through this, but this is where I'm going to stop. I'm going to climb up. I'm going to have the high ground. I'm going to climb up here to get the high ground, unless somebody in there has a question. So I see the tank talking about plague heart mission. Give me just a second. I'm going to catch up with the chat. And Smuggery Pony mentioned that they're curious about Chinese zombies with a spell scroll stuck in their head. I do not know anything about Chinese zombies with a spell scroll stuck in their head, but the tank is suggesting that is more of a chi-draining vampire than a zombie, which I am going to defer to their expertise on that, because that is not something I know a lot about. Zombie lore in general is not something I know about. The reason I wanted to talk about this particular history of zombies had to do with its relation to what an action potential is, how it functions, and how important those sodium channels are, and then what happens if you block the ability for those sodium channels to do their jobs. And for anything, if you block acetylcholine, what happens? Well, it turns out that one of the things that happens is you have visual hallucinations. So I'm going to stop the video here, and this will be light on, light off. Can't figure out how we want to stop the video here, but I'm going to, oh, there we go. Look concerned, look very concerned. I'm going to stop the video here. As always, if you are interested in hearing more about the psychology in video games, interspersed between me trying not to get killed if I'm playing this game, but through gameplay in other games, you can subscribe to the channel. I'll put a link here, or you can watch one of the other games on the side. One of those will be a link to the playlist of other State of Decay videos. I do intend to play additional games. I am not going to give away all of the information in Do Zombies Dream of Undead Sheep, but I do intend to talk a little bit more about the neuroscience of zombies and to go into a little bit more of that discussion. But I do recommend that if you're very interested in learning about how zombies can help us learn more about how the human brain works and can be an educational vehicle for gaining a better understanding of neuroscience, I do recommend that you check that book out. I will put a link below. And then I will have another link to a different set of videos in a entirely different subgenre of games where you can check out other discussions of psychology in video games. Be sure to subscribe to the video, hit the notification bell, all of those things I'm supposed to ask you to do at the end of the video, and I will see you there.